Hey, so today, you already know what's going on. You looked at the title. So I wanted to look at my old camera versus my new camera, but that really is not a fair comparison at all. But I thought it would be interesting to look at what you really get for an entry-level mirrorless camera versus a high-end mirrorless camera. Spoilers. This camera with all of this costs just about 3 times as much as this camera with all of this. But let's get into that. So I know you guys are gonna be interested about all of the numbers and everything. So let's start off with the numbers. What does everything cost? Let's start with the small guy. So here we have the Sony A6400. Perfect vlogging camera. This is about as entry level as I would recommend. I would not recommend the A6100 just because it doesn't have those picture profiles. So having S-Log and HLG specifically, it changes this camera. It really changes this camera. It makes this camera so amazing. I don't know what I would do if I didn't have HLG. So our base model is the Sony A6400, and this comes in at a whopping $900. Up to the big boy. Here we have the Panasonic S1H. This is the GH5 on steroids. This thing is insane. The specs on here are insane. This comes in at $4,000. So straight off of the bat, without any accessories or anything, you're up 4 times the price for the full frame, for the big guy, for the big dog, for the high-end mirrorless camera. Okay, you know, the camera itself costs more, but unfortunately everything else costs more too. Going into the full frame ecosystem, everything costs more. Let's move on to lenses, because a camera is nothing without a lens. So let's look at the lenses that I would actually recommend, and those are from Sigma. So that is going to be the Sigma 16mm 1.4. This comes in at $371. Sigma 30mm 1.4. This is $265. And the Sigma 56mm 1.4. This comes in at $382. Lucky for you, Sigma has a bundle on Amazon at least, and you can get all 3 of these lenses in a cute little case for $1,117. Now moving over to the full frame, we are again going with Sigma. However, I only have 2 of the 3 lenses. Ideally, I want an 85mm. So we're just gonna go ahead and add this in. So to start off, we have the Sigma 24mm 1.4. That is $850. And then the Sigma 50mm 1.4. That is $950. And then of course the Sigma 85mm 1.4, which is $1,200. That's a lot. But I'm a big fan of cages, and it's crazy. Even the cage price difference is insane. So the cage for the Sony A6400 is $40. The cage for the Panasonic S1H is $90. The camera just has a whole different feeling with and without the cage, so I would highly recommend having the cage on there. Next is batteries, because you may have a lens and a camera, but you can't use it if you can't power it on. So you'd be surprised. There's even a big difference in the price of batteries. So let's start off with the Sony A6400. You can get a 2-pack from Wasabi, and those are gonna run you $24 for some batteries. On to the S1H. Again, same deal. You can get a 2-pack from Wasabi for $70. Twice the price for some batteries. And yes, you may notice that my logo is on everything. I got this idea from Peter McKinnon. Go on to moo.com and get you some stickers with your logo and just everything. Everything. So speaking of logos on stuff, I have SD cards. This is another thing that I just was not expecting. Of course, when you are up here, when you are on the high-end mirrorless camera level, this records in 6K, so you need to have a really fast SD card to just take all of that information. A 256 gigabyte Lexar card is gonna cost you $50. They don't have a 256 gig, 300 megabytes per second SD card, and that is the minimum requirement that we need for the S1H. However, we do have a dual SD card slot, so we're gonna go ahead and pick up 228 gigabytes And this is going to run us $270. That's literally 5 times the price. That's insane. Now, let us go on to stabilization. I let someone borrow my Ronin, so I don't have the one for this side. But let's imagine that I do. So Sony A6400 does not have any in-body image stabilization, so you definitely need some sort of gimbal or something to stabilize your footage. So I have a Ronin SC. That's what we're going to be looking at. That's what I would recommend. So the Ronin SC costs $400. Over on the S1H side, you need something bigger. When you have the cage, the camera, the lens, everything on, it weighs like 5 pounds. So you need a bigger gimbal. Some that I would recommend are the Ronin S at $560. Right here, I have the Moza Air 2. This costs $600. I would even recommend a Ronin M, which runs between $700 and $1,000. But with the Ronin M, I had issue with the battery, so make sure that your battery charges and everything works. But aside from that, that gimbal is fantastic. Now, I was gonna do a thing about storage for your computer, having an external hard drive. However, I stumbled upon this. You can get a Seagate 8 terabyte external hard drive for $120. So I'm just gonna, you could use that for both of these. You're obviously gonna go through it a lot faster with the S1H, but $120, that's insane. Just go buy that. Another thing that you might want to consider is your actual computer itself. So you're either working with 4K footage or 6K footage, and there's a big difference in what your computer can actually handle. My computer is struggling to handle this 6K footage, so that's another cost that I have to cover, is my computer. I might have to upgrade computers in order to handle the footage that's coming off of here. So let's say you can get a computer that is able to edit 4K footage easily, and that's gonna cost you $1,000, maybe $2,000, but probably somewhere around the $1,000 range. Now a computer that's gonna be able to handle 6K footage is gonna cost $3,000 and up, easily. That's another thing that you would wanna consider. So the grand total when it comes to the entry-level mirrorless camera, you are looking at $2,650. For the high-end mirrorless camera, you are looking at a grand total of $8,149. So that is, it's about $5,500 difference. So what are you actually getting? So obviously the footage is going to be better with the S1H. You are getting the difference of 4K footage versus 6K footage. The S1H can even film 4K at 60 frames per second. You're getting better colors, better bit depth. So you're going from 420 with 8-bit to 422 10-bit over here. You're getting potentially better color science. I know a lot of people say that they love the S-Log and the colors that come off of the S1H. I mean, obviously there's people that love Sony colors too. I am one of those people. There's an improvement in battery life, as you would expect with the size of these batteries. So at the A6400, you're looking at about an hour or so. With the S1H, you're looking at 80, 90 minutes. You know, it's about 20 minutes, but it is more battery life. But this is where things get a little weird. The S1H, the big powerful camera, the body alone costs 4 times the price of the A6400. This has terrible autofocus. The autofocus just is not there. It's not ready. It's not good. It uses contrast-based autofocus, and that doesn't compete with what Sony's doing. So the A6400 has better, way better autofocus than the S1H. But that's also like settings. So using this camera, you can film movies and you'll have a crew and you'll have people to pull focus for you. So autofocus might not really matter. It does for me because I don't have a crew. Damn, what was I thinking? Damn, what's that one thing? I said it earlier, what is it? But the big question is it worth it? Should you go the budget route or should you go the high-end professional route? Well, I mean, there's no real comparison here. Because if you're just getting into this, there's no way that you're gonna jump into $8,000 in debt to get here. So you are probably gonna start off here. But what is the real difference here? Well, this is small and compact. It is a lot cheaper. It's a lot easier to use. The upgrade path is a lot easier going from a 6400 to like an A7 III. You really there are benefits and drawbacks to both of these. Obviously, this big camera is going to take much better video, much better photos. It's gonna be better all around, but you already know that. I do think it's cool to look at the drastic difference in price. Going from $2,600 to $8,000. That is such a big difference. It's such a big difference. It's like 3 times the price. Do you get 3 times the camera? Probably not. I mean, you get a whole bunch of good things, but you could get just about the same thing with the Blackmagic Pocket Cinema 6K, and that's around $2,000, and this is twice the price of that. So obviously this is targeting drastically different audiences. This is more of like a beginner getting into video and photography and stuff like that. This is for the high-end professional that like does video work. But yeah, I don't know. Do you really think it's worth it to spend 3 times the amount of money to get that small increase? Because that's what it really is. It's the something diminishing returns. Whereas you spend more money, the increase in quality increases smaller amounts. Going from your phone to this, the quality goes up here, but going from here to here, the quality may only go up a little bit. I don't know. Let me know what you think in the comments. I thought it was just interesting to look at the difference between the two, to see like what you really get, where your money's really going. Obviously, you know that the image quality is gonna be better off of here, but you can still get really fantastic image quality from the entry-level mirrorless camera. Subscribe if you like all of this content. I'll have more stuff on the S1H, probably more stuff on the A6400, but definitely stuff on the S1H since I just got it and I need to use it more. But yeah, so thank you for watching. Subscribe, tell a friend. But yeah, so that is everything. And yeah, wait, let me yeah.